Come and dream with me.
Hello, welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every week we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content and help you answer the question, which Rambo film would you rather watch? A prequel starring Noah Centineo, directed by CISO director Jalmari Helander, or an AI abomination created by Sylvester Stallone with a de-aged version of the 80s action star? I think the first.
Yeah, definitely the first. My favorite thing about this was him in the interview or whatever. Just been, I wouldn't marry I can still play the role. It's just the age of me. I play Rambo still. My mate, you will move like an old cunt. We have seen this when even Martin Scorsese did it in Irishman, and obviously that was a less physical role. But even when those fucking dudes went up to change the TV station and they're meant to be younger, they're like,
Yeah. It just doesn't work.
There's only so much you can do.
There are some things you can't act your way out of.
Yep.
All right, on today's episode. I'm your host, Ash Shobley. Join me today, Dylan Blight.
Oh, yeah.
That's important.
That's important.
On today's episode, we'll be talking about what's on watch history, going over some film news, giving this week's top 3, and giving some thumbs to trailers. Kicking things off, we both went to see the latest film from After Yang director Kogonada. A big, bold, beautiful journey, starring Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell plays a man who is going to a wedding, only to find his car has got a boot on it. So he has to go to get a car from the car rental company.
Did you say his car has a boot on it?
Yeah, that's what they call it, right?
A boot?
Yeah, a boot.
They call them a boot?
I believe so.
Like the car lock thing. They call them a boot. Okay, sorry. I'm blown away by that fact, if that's true.
I'm like 99% sure.
I'm just thinking, a boot's a boot. Like, that's...
Yeah, but they don't call the boot the boot.
What do they call their boot? Because if they call it something else, that would make more sense. But I'm like, if someone's like, man, you've got a boot on your car, and I'd be like, well, yes. Yeah, that's where stuff goes.
Trunk.
The trunk. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I've heard... Yep, no, you're right. I've heard that in movies, obviously. Yeah, trunk. Yeah, check the trunk.
There we go.
Check the trunk, yeah.
See?
Not check the boot.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
It's like Fanny.
That makes... Yeah, okay. That makes more sense once you point out the... Yeah, okay.
So Colin Farrell has to go to this rental car company to rent a car, and thus begins a big, bold, beautiful journey in which he will meet Colin Farrell's character David will meet Sarah, played by Michael Robbie, at the wedding, and then find themselves on a weird, fantastical journey where they explore each other's memories and pasts and all that kind of stuff as they ponder whether they should invest into a future together, I guess. Dylan, you've got a review up on the website. You gave it a 7 out of 10. I think possibly one of the most positive reviews of the film.
Yeah, it's been smashed, hey.
Yes.
It's I enjoyed the experience. I think obviously having two leads in Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie help because they have great chemistry on screen. They really commit to this world and journey that their characters are on. And ultimately, even though I think one of my negatives is that the film is actually more interesting, I think, when it's exploring both the traumatic things or, traumatic pasts for some of them, just life for others that they haven't moved past, but like things from their past that they haven't moved on from or being able to process that affects their current day relationships. I found all of that stuff really interesting. I think when they're playing those roles, they're doing that really well, and all of that's really good. I think the movie's at its worst when it's a romance movie. And this isn't anything to do with the fact that they're not, like, you can't picture them as a couple, or that I was saying the chemistry's there and everything like that. I just think that it's almost like I sort of enjoyed the idea of these two people being thrown together, going on this journey in which they stop at random doors and the doors let them explore and help come to terms with things from their past. And that in its own, I didn't really need more I'm fine with no explanation as to the how, what, where, when, why, whatever. Just have Phoebe Waller-Bridge just put on a German accent and go, the fucking car, the fucking fucking. Say literally every swear word in the
GPS.
movie. Yeah, fucking GPS. Literally the only character swearing in this whole movie is her. And she does it at 100 miles an hour.
Wait, did you recognize who the other guy was?
Kevin Kline, wasn't it?
You recognized him straight away?
Yeah. Well, actually, no.
I didn't
To be
realize until the
honest,
credits.
to be honest, I knew he was in it, so I never I knew he was in the movie, so I recognized him when I saw it because I already knew he was in the movie. I guess so. My brain was looking at him, prepared for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not recognize him and was shocked.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
I can't remember the last time I watched him in a film.
Yeah, it's an interesting pairing for those two characters that own this the car dealership with the GPS, the fucking GPS. Yeah, it's an odd movie. And I can understand why. Maybe it's
what if your phone craps out?
Yeah. What if your fucking phone? But I think that the journey, like the personal journey the characters go on, I think it's interesting, and I enjoy that. Like almost, I think I put somewhere in my review something about it's this like Charlie Kaufman-esque sort of thing that we're going for here. But the romance stuff is the least interesting, simply because it's the least interesting. And by the time you get to the end of the movie, I was like, okay, I don't. That's whatever. I don't really care for that. I don't care that that's the. And also it's almost the movie is this big, huge concept of magical doors taking you back in time or whatever the hell we're doing. But ultimately, the message the movie is going for is just. I remember I put in my review. It's carpe per diem or whatever
Carpe diem
seize the day. That ultimately the message is seize the day, which is such a surface level, low level, like important one, but it tells the movies like saying that message in such a huge way that it's sort of it's a weird balancing. Anyway, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I can understand why other people might not like it as much for other reasons, but the reason I enjoyed it was nothing to do with the romance, which is
I enjoyed it as well, but I can totally see why some people did not like it, because it does have an air of pretentiousness about it, just because it is so reality is so heightened, and all the characters are very, or at least Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell are very self-aware. Like the first conversation we had between the real conversation we had between them in the outside when you're smoking, they're like pointing out all their flaws and what's wrong with them and why they should be together. And then, suddenly she's asking him to marry him. And, is this very unrealistic? There's a level of unrealism that is hard to get past from that first conversation that I feel like lost a lot of people. But I think, like you said, I enjoyed like the delving into these people's past and like kind of reliving these memories. This awesome sequence where we go back to Colin Farrell's high school. He has to do a song. He's got to perform the musical. How to be a successful? I don't know. Some musical.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's also nearly a moment the movie tries to go. Imagine if this whole movie was a musical, and you're like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Although it's interesting, Margot Robbie said, I saw Margot Robbie in an interview say, I can't sing. But she sings in this, and she doesn't sound too bad, But that was more like, apparently Kylie Minogue wants her to play her in a movie. She's like, no, I can't play Kylie Minogue. I can't sing like that. But yeah, I mean, I think they're both solid. I don't know if they have fantastic chemistry. It was like, it definitely did give off super romantic chemistry. Like,
no,
we're meant to be together.
Like, it's not.
Which is, the ending is kind of like an element of settling is the vibe I got, especially with the conversation that Margot Robbie has with a certain character at the end.
I almost would have liked a more open-ended ending rather than what they go for.
Absolutely.
The best chemistry in this movie is the interview the two of them gave, where Colin Farrell says that Babylon's fantastic and it's highly underrated of Margot Robbie's work. That is the best.
How did that not make it in the film? They should have cut that in from the press tour. Surely that would have made you super happy.
Someone asked what each other's favorite movie is, and Colin Farrell's like, "Oh, Babylon, highly underrated. Love that." I'm like, "This is why you're a good guy, Colin Farrell. This is why you're the guy,
Yeah, absolutely. What was the other thing I was going to say? The I really loved the GPS was what's her face?
Jodie Turner-Smith.
Jodie Turner-Smith, who was one of the characters in her last film. Coconut's last film with Arthur Yang.
Which I still need to watch, but
wife.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a good film.
Hamish Linklater
yeah, obviously
as well as Colin Farrell's dad. There's a few interesting like small
some really interesting scenes
casting
that pop up. Yeah, like surprisingly big actors in small roles. But yeah, obviously it was a big box office disappointment. Not many people went to go watch it. But I think it might find life in the future. It's just maybe an overlooked film or underappreciated. All right. All right. I checked out the new film on Disney Plus, Swiped, which is the story of the
Dora the Explorer.
creative. No.
Oh.
That would be about swipers, No, it's about Jesus Christ. Sorry, I just saw somebody in the cast. I'm like, wait, that was them? And my mind's just been blown. Lily James plays Whitney Wolfe Herd, who is the this founder and CEO of Bumble, but also was very prominent in the creation of Tinder. And it follows her from being like a 22-year-old high school graduate, college graduate who comes to LA trying to, at first, create an app that will join volunteers with orphanages. That's what she's pitching at the start of the movie. But then she gets roped into Hatch Labs, which is creating Tinder as one of their projects to work as the marketing lead. And she becomes very enraptured in the idea of how Tinder could work and how you could have a millennial dating app, that is something different to, different to all the other OkCupids, Plenty of Fish, all the kind of dating apps that were going around at the time. And you get a lot of the major moments, like I said, you would expect from the creation of Tinder. You're like, here's the moment that we realized we can gamify it by, instead of using buttons, you swipe left, you swipe right.
Whoa.
And that kind of stuff. Then she goes to a university and pretty much cons all the students into downloading the app, and that's kind of what sparks the rise of Tinder. Of course, at the time, she's also getting into a relationship with one of the co-founders of the company. And when that goes pear-shaped, it doesn't go well for her, to say, put it simply. He's a very toxic piece of shit person. But ultimately, it's her to creating Bubble, which is a more female-friendly platform. So, I thought it was really interesting. Obviously, we're getting a lot of these CEO startup stories, that kind of stuff. Lately, I think Lily James is really fantastic. The person I was surprised is in this film is Dan Stevens, who plays. He plays the creator of Magic Labs, or Badu, which is a European dating app that was trying to get into the market at the same time. And he ultimately funds Bumble's creation before he turns out to be
a piece of shit,
not a good person either.
Oh,
so.
shit.
But yeah, I was shocked when I just saw Dan Stevens, because he's kind of unrecognizable. Also doing a very heavy German accent as well, so I mean that probably helped as well. So
that's because he speaks German.
Crazy. So
remember when I watched that movie with Hunter Schafer?
Cuckoo.
Yeah, cool. And he does a German accent in that as well. I think I remember pointing out how
I remember very fondly, because I definitely watched that movie.
Did you watch that movie?
No.
Oh, no, I'm saying I didn't say you watched it. I'm just saying I talked about it.
Yeah, because I would recognize him having a German accent by you talking about it.
No, I'm just telling a tangential story, man. All right, what? Fuck off. Move on.
But yeah, I mean, really well told. Flew by an hour 40. Probably not for those people who are into super bro culture and believe women are at fault of everything and bros can get away with anything. So, other than that,
I love how that's an audience. That's a section of audience after. Yeah, it's probably not a film for the bro culture. That subculture group. Probably not for yous.
Yeah, there's a very prominent group that is unfortunately.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, it's very prominent. Yeah. So,
but yeah, yeah, I really enjoyed it. So check out Swiped on Disney Plus.
So I'm still stuck on this whole idea. There's a website where people do like, oh, is this movie good for children? I know there's one where it's a bunch of women review movies and they like talk about like, did they pass the Burgeon? No, the what's-my-call test? You know, do women talk about things that aren't in the movies? Bird-Dell test. Yeah, so maybe they should. Yeah, someone should start one called the Kirk test. You know, like
yeah. Is it going to be okay for?
Yeah, is this movie okay for sexist, misogynist? Like, is it too woke? Yeah, good idea.
So Dylan, I saw that you watched The Strangers Chapter 1 this week.
So Strangers Chapter 2 is out this week, so I decided that I should finally watch Strangers Chapter 1. Missed it in cinemas. I think at the time talked about it. I can't remember if I said it on here or maybe I dreamed it did, but I swear at some point I was like going to watch that. I'll probably wait for it to release. Like there was a lot happening at the time, and I couldn't be fucked going to cinemas watch it because apparently it was average. And that's what it is. I'm more keen for part 2 to be honest. I watched the part 2 trailer like when it dropped a couple weeks back or whatever. I was like, oh, this looks like mildly more interesting because they've got past the first film. So the whole thing of this is they filmed 3 at the same time, which is an interesting was always an interesting
bold choice.
thing. Yeah, a bold choice. They're like, let's film 3 movies, and apparently they were taking the girl from the main girl who's from fucking the Archie show. They were taking her around and like filming all 3 at the same time. So it's like in the morning she might film a scene from this movie, and after good points for them for commitment. But yeah, I mean the first movie is basically just a remake of the first, and that's what leads it to being so sort of bland. It's not as tense, it's not as scary. The characters aren't as good, they're fine. And overall it just feels like it's attempting to do the 2008 movie again without trying to speak for itself or have something new to say. Whereas watching at least the trailer for part 2, I'm like, oh, they're trying to add something new to the lore of this franchise, because the trailer for part 2 is like sort of teasing a bigger history to the strangers, and there being a reason for what they do, like adding lore to this series. Whereas the first film is literally like not beat for beat, but like core concept wise, it's a couple. And this is different to the first movie, but at the end of the day, it's about a couple stuck in a house. But this one, they're traveling through. This couple are on a trip. Their car breaks down. They have to stay in an Airbnb in this small town while their car gets fixed. And that night, the strangers come visit them. And you even get like their own version of the classic line from the 2008 movie at the end, where it's like Liv Tyler's like, why'd you do this to us or whatever? And the one of the strangers goes, because you were home. So yeah, look, I don't think that chapter 1 was very good. I'm more keen for part 2, but it's an interesting change of direction either way, because the 2008 film was it was always like based on the idea of like the amount of home invasions that happened in America, and this film opens with nearly the same text on the screen about like how many people. How many home invasions or how many like people are killed per second in America, whatever. Like both films open with similar sort of facts, but the 2008 film was very much like this shit happens. People have no reason for doing it, and that's the scary thing. Like it was more based on like just that it's a thing that can and does happen, and it's scarier than that. Whereas this, at least watching into the chapter 2 trailer, is leaning more into like there actually being a reason why they do it, which is sort of defeats the purpose of the original movie, but whatever, at least it's different.
All right, I checked out a comedy film on Disney Plus called Summer of '69, a film that I believe was at South by Southwest, or where did it debut? Yeah, South by Southwest earlier this year, got a lot of buzz. It's the directorial debut of Gillian Bell. And follows a soon-to-be high school graduate who has a longer-standing crush on his classmate Max. Her name's Abby, played by Sam Morales from that 90s show. She's never had a boyfriend or any kind of that stuff, but she's had this crush on Max for a long time. He finally breaks up with his very, very long-time girlfriend, and she wants to get with him, and On advice given by the High School Max song, Max really loves to 69, but she has no sexual experience. So she turns to one of the great sexual resources out there, a stripper. She goes to a local strip club called the Diamond Dolls, where Santa Monica is performing, played by Chloe Fineman from SNL. And she is so taken with her, she asks her to teach her how to give her a sexual awakening, become confident to ultimately 69 Max at the upcoming end of year party. Meanwhile, Santa Monica is at the Diamond Dolls. The owner is a terrible business person and has taken out a loan from a very sketchy businessman played by Charlie Day. So they need to raise $20,000 by the end of the week. Otherwise, he's going to buy the club and pretty much fire all these girls or make them re-auditioned without any clothes on. So she needs the $20,000 that Abby is willing to offer her, and that's why they're going about this crazy teaching situation. It all comes together. It's a good time. It is not revolutionary in any sort of way, other than I guess it is more from a female perspective on a lot of these sex comedy kind of things. Natalie Morales and Chloe Fineman have great chemistry, and they become very good friends in the movie. I guess that's not much of a spoiler because that's pretty much the trope of these kind of movies. But yeah, it's a fun time. There's some fun gags. Things don't go the way you kind of expect at certain points. And yeah, I think it's a really good time. So Summer of '69 playing on Disney Plus, the beloved children's streaming service. So check that out. Dylan, you checked out a film called Night of the Reaper.
Night of the Reaper. Night of the Reaper is a pretty fluffy, I guess, which sounds like a weird word, but in terms of horror movies, I think slasher film. It begins with a very VHS 80s aesthetic thing, which I can't remember. I got a review up on the website, but in that, I think I point out, I think it's the second or third one I've watched this year from Shudder that has the same sort of thing going for it. So anyway, apparently this is the style now, but it begins with, it's the typical sort of slasher thing. There's a babysitter, there's a killer, it ends with her getting stabbed, cut forward a year later, small town vibes, killer's never been caught. And what starts happening is that you have a sort of a dual narrative playing out where we follow one character played by Jessica Clement, who's returning home. She's attending university, college, whatever. America. She's returning home, and she's going to, that night, she's agreed to do a job where she's going to babysit the sheriff, who's played by Ryan Robbins, as son. And during the events of the film, the sheriff basically begins getting and finding and led to tapes that show the Night Stalkers killing. The Reapers. What did I say? Night Stalker for? Close enough. Night of the Reaper on these tapes shows what his killings are, including the one from the year before. And the things start to unravel there. And of course, at the same time, we're getting the Jessica Clement, the babysitter, who's looking after the sheriff's kid, and lo and behold, starts getting oh, what's that? Oh, creepy noise. Oh, someone might be in the house. Oh, typical sort of slasher stuff. It has a big twist towards the end of the movie, and I think weirdly the twist is sort of what holds the movie back from being a lot better. Not because it's bad, but because they didn't do it sooner. The twist is cool. I enjoyed the twist. However, they do it within the last 20 minutes, and it's an interesting enough twist that I do think if you'd brought forward when the reveal of information happened and had more of the movie play out post that reveal and see more interactions between characters and stuff after said reveal, I do think it would have made the movie a lot more interesting and stand apart. Whereas because it's sort of left in a stereotypical nearly last minute reveal in the final act, sort of, a la every Scream and whatever else, it doesn't really help it stand apart enough. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun slasher. It's not overly gory. This is one you could, if you're looking for a horror movie to watch with the family this Halloween season coming into October. There's like one kill where it's got 1 second of gore, but the rest of it's pretty tame.
All right. You also watched Somnium. Somnium?
I think it's Somnium. Yeah, Somnium. I will have a review up by the time this post. I don't know what score I'm giving it yet. So, but actually, do I have it up yet? No, I don't. I've wrote it, but I haven't posted it. So this is about this is an interesting movie in that I think 2/3 of it's good. I'm complaining about last acts apparently on this episode. The last act sort of makes it doesn't hold up a bit as interesting. But so it's about this girl who getting my information while I'm talking and filling time. Chloe Levine plays this character Gemma who returns. Not returns. She at the start of the movie is just moved into Hollywood. She's there to make herself as an actress. She wants to be a big time actor. And basically what we see play out is that she gets there and then she goes looking for a job because between getting auditions and stuff, of course, she needs money to pay for rent. Shock horror. And she goes into this, she's just going around handing in resumes and stuff like that. And she walks into this Somnium clinic and they do it like sort of on the spot interview and say, hey, come do a trial job. And then she gets a job. But the place is basically a sleep clinic in which people, her job is at night. She's just sitting in a reception desk, watching the cameras, just making sure, the people in these little pods are okay and don't die, more or less. But the people in the pods are getting played basically video and audio that is tailor-made by this other character in the movie, Noah, in that they're like, say they want to be like an ultra-rich politician or something like that. He's like made these videos and the idea is, you complete this month-long thing and if you listen to it all the time, it won't make you come out like a changed person, but you will come out with such a belief in that you can do it that you'll make it a reality is sort of the pitch. Like you will believe it. You'll go from wanting to do it to believing you can and will do it. And then you will succeed is sort of the pitch, which did have me thinking. I'm like, I wonder if that's possible. What if I listen to learn to speak Japanese every night while I sleep? Can I just speak Japanese? Is that a thing that can happen? I don't know. Like you do it at night, like just
I don't
8
know. I
hours.
feel like there's been tests,
and the answer is
the inconclusive.
Inconclusive, yeah. I mean, there has to be something to it, right? Like your brain listens and takes in at least something, sure.
Subconsciously, yeah.
Subconsciously, yeah. So, yeah. So between that and then obviously some weird stuff starts happening. She starts seeing weird things on the cameras and stuff like that. And there's a little element of like, is she disattached? Like, is she in the dream? Is she, there's a lot of like that sort of element playing out. At the same time, she also meets this other character played by Jonathan Shates, who's like a Hollywood producer, and he seems really weird. Like he approaches her in the car park and was really creepy older dude and was like, come chill. And she does. And I'm like, red flag. But he just generally seems to want to help her. So it's very odd. He also doesn't seem like he exists in a real world, but he's there. So that sort of helps with the narrative of the whole movie constantly being like trying to make you feel confused about what's happening, like she is. And we also see all these flashbacks to when she's dating her boyfriend in her hometown, played by Peter Vack, who the movie sort of uses to show, I guess, how different people chase and go about their dreams. She's like, they started dating, they really like each other and stuff. She says she wants to be an actress. In this one scene we see early in the movie, he says he wants to be in a band, but then as we see time and stuff progress, she's still obviously wants to move and follow and chase her dreams and wants to achieve it, whereas he's doing I'm happy to just play in a band in a garage. As long as I'm playing music, I'm happy, and I'll accept my fate as working on my family's store, farm, whatever it is. Just he's not willing to. He's just taking it that way instead of stuff. So the movie's definitely about like chasing dreams, elements, stuff like that. It's hard not to watch it and think about substance a little bit, not because it's anywhere near as fucked up as that movie gets or as weird, but just because it is about a girl in Hollywood. There's even a scene where she's staring at a fucking sign at some point. So it's okay. The third act falls apart because it attempts to, I think, put a bow on it. And really, I nearly would have rather the movie be a lot more open to interpretation than because I think by the end I was like, okay, I guess that's how that played out. I guess it was a bit of a deflating ending. Considering the first 2/3 of the movie were a lot more interesting, but as a directorial and writing debut, it was by Rachel Kane, first time director writer. Decent.
All right, talk to me about the film A Chosen Family.
This is directed by Heather Graham, written by Heather Graham, in which she plays a older woman who cannot hold a man, and all her friends make fun of her for it. And she has a bit of a really weird family. Her sister, played by Julia Stiles, is at the start of the film getting out of drug rehab therapy and is a drug addict. And her mother is really weird and constantly like complaining that that Heather Graham's character doesn't do enough for their family. And her dad's also really weird and constantly like trying to throw around church and wanting her to date this dude from his church who he says is a virgin, which is just great. But her friend group, which includes the only actor I can remember off the top of my head is Thomas Lennon. But her friend group is really good, supportive, fun people. I'm fucking killing time while I find the list. But so Thomas Lennon, one of them, Andrea Savage plays another one of her friends, and Odessa Ray plays other friends. So it's this really nice friend group she has, and even though I'm gonna spoil the ending of the movie because it's so dumb that the movie's called Chosen Family. Spoilers for the end of the movie. She chooses her friends as her family. Like the movie just does this whole. But from the first scene you see, where it's like you see her with her family, and you're like, she can tell she's just hanging in for life there. And then you see her with a friend group, and you're like, oh, they're the supporting ones in the family, like keeping it going through life and whatever else. And then I'm like, movie title. So by the time you get to the end of the movie and the message is like Chosen Family, I was like, shock. I didn't see that coming. In between that all, she meets this guy played by John Brotherton. He is a recently divorced, has one daughter, seems to be the dream man. However, a lot of the shtick of this film is that he has a daughter who is an absolute devil in disguise because she is getting fed misinformation from his ex-partner, and shit talks everyone and everything, and doesn't like that another woman's getting involved in her dad's life. And he doesn't really parent her, to be honest. Like, just lets her get away with everything, and but it's sort of hard not to judge because it's a child stuck between this obviously rather abusive breakup between people. This movie is a very odd mixture of things because it's trying to be just a straight up romantic comedy while then throwing in things that plot elements and things that just aren't funny and not doing anything with them. Including, I guess you could even start with the fact that you've got this child who's getting terrorized by parents breaking up, and you're like, that's a serious topic that, the whole kettle of fish there. You then got her sister who's a drug addict that we do nothing with that. And like there's her, then she's trying to run a yoga studio and then like not getting enough money out of that, and her friend, I don't know, there's all these things. There's just too much in this movie. It's not even 90 minutes. It's like barely under a couple minutes under 90 minutes, and it has all these different ideas and things thrown around. The reason it is at least somewhat enjoyable to watch is because Heather Graham's great. She has great chemistry with every single person in it. Her friend group's really good as well. Those cast of actors and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a very mixed bag.
All right. And then I've seen your review, but talk to me about Blackwater Lane.
Yeah, Blackwater Lane is a movie that's been done a million times to death now, and this doesn't offer anything new to the party. But it's basically this woman played by Minka Kelly. She's driving home at night through Blackwater Lane. That's where the title comes from. She sees a woman on the side of the road in a car, and then and she's like, oh no, something weird going on there. Anyway, leaves. Finds out next morning that the woman who was sitting in a car that looked asleep was actually dead. And then from that moment, all the reports are like, there's a killer on the loose. And then weird stuff starts happening. She starts hearing noises in the house. It's like, could be the killer. Who knows what's going on? If I say what genre this fits into, it'll very quickly spoil what is actually happening in the movie. That said, I figured out what was happening about 15 minutes into it, which is fine, I think. As I say something in my review about, like, if the journey has to be good, then if you already know where you're going. But the journey's not good because Minka Kelly is not engaging to watch on screen. The character she plays is just boring, and I think there's an element of, because they're trying to keep this mystery throughout most of the movie, a lot of the actors are playing stuff so stiff and like not trying to show too much because they're all supposed to be potential suspects for what's going on. And that includes Dermot Mulroney, who plays her husband. The only actor I enjoyed in this was Maggie Grace, who plays her best friend. She's quite good. She seems like a real person in this film. Everyone else I did not enjoy. And then the only other thing I quite enjoyed was the cinematography and the location it was shot, because it's like this big mansion sort of in the middle of nowhere, sort of, a lot of greenery, England area. I'm sure the road to get to the house is 10 miles long, sort of scenario. That looks good. Cinematography is good, but yeah, it was not suggested.
Right. And then the last thing you watched.
Holy moly, have I watched
One thing left on the list. 1,000 Men and Me, the Bonnie Blue story.
Oh, I did watch that, didn't I?
What's this one about?
This dropped on was it Stan? Sorry, yeah,
I believe so.
Dropped on Stan. I don't know if it's an actual Stan thing or if that's just where it released. Like,
No, I believe it's a British documentary.
Must be a BBC thing anyway.
Yeah.
So Bonnie Blue is
one of those.
Bonnie Blue is a massive OnlyFans, Fansly, whatever, person, and her whole thing is that, like, she does those. She's got controversial for doing things where she, like, fucks 1,000 guys at once, or no, 1,000 guys. No, it was 1,000 guys in 24 hours. I don't know, something, right? And then she does, like, very controversial TikToks to get attention, where she'll be like, husbands, come down and fuck me, and don't tell your wives, and all this sort of stuff. And the whole shtick is basically she makes porn with her subscribers and random people instead of, like, actual people, which they cover in this, how OnlyFans actually bans her. And then she moves to Fansly, but whatever. Look, I had to watch it. It's intriguing. I don't understand her, and I don't feel like this documentary does a good job of explaining her either, because she quite often says contradicting things, especially as you get to the back end of this movie, because she'll say things where, like, let me look. Here's how I'd sum up what I get out of this film. It starts with. By the way, you never see the person who's doing it, the reporter running the story, but you do hear her voice quite often. And anytime she spoke, whether it was on screen or VO, you could never see her face, but she always sounded as confused as I was. So didn't even need to say anything. But at the start of the movie, they're interviewing Bonnie Blue, who does that's her stage name. I don't remember her real name. And she's talking about how she's, take back power for women. People accuse her of taking women back years, but she's, she's doing what she wants with her body, so feminists should, be okay with it because it's her choice and all that sort of stuff. And I'm watching her going, yeah, that's fair enough, right? That's crazy. You're not taking feminists back years. If that, I can sort of get on board with that. Then we skip to the end of the movie, which ends with her saying that she's packing to get on a plane to fly to Romania to do an interview with what's a bald-headed fucking rapist do to a band from the UK?
The Tates,
yeah. At the end of the movie, she's getting on a plane to go do an interview with them because it'll obviously bring a lot of subscribers to her and stuff. And the off screen, the reporter, it's like, don't you feel like it's not good? Like, these are people have been accused of raping and or selling out women and all this sort of stuff. And she's like, yeah, but like, like, it's just this. So then by the time the movie starts here with her sort of trying to sell the narrative of her being this, no, I'm empowering myself. I'm doing it because I want. And then by the end, she's just like, you can't go then do an interview with people who are like literally like fucking sex traffickers. Like, so anyway, she's my takeaway is she's a terrible person. That's that was my takeaway from this, that she's a terrible person. And that's about all I got from it. Also, I just cannot imagine the smell of they show a little bit. Obviously, they don't show porn. They blur some stuff, but they show some elements of her engaging in the stuff that she does for her videos. And like, there's a stage where there's like 4 or 5 guys. There's like 4 or 5 guys gangbanging her, right? Not to go into too much detail. But
just to get too graphic.
The reporter then leaves, comes back later, right? And they're just showing this footage of like what feels like 100 condoms on the ground, like around her as she's like halfway through this day of 1,000 men doing it with her, including apparently a father and son who come do it at the same time, which is fucking weird. Like, let's see, that's odd. But yeah, when the camera's just panning around the 1,000 condoms and stuff, I'm like, that would smell so rancid. How anyone can walk into that room and not want to anyway. Yeah.
Surely you'd have to get a massive soundstage or something like.
No, they like rented this fucking Airbnb house to do it.
You know, how do you get 1,000 people in there?
They would want the stairs are
the
winding
more interesting
up.
Is logistics. Like, let's talk to the people who play.
The stairs winding up. They're lined up all through the stairs out onto the street. These guys. So on the street, obviously, there as they get closer to the top of the stairs to the room where they're doing it, they just start taking off their clothes. There's just a bunch of dudes just standing in their socks, just holding their cocks, just being like, "All right, I'm waiting for my." They get 60 seconds each. Just 60 seconds.
Not going to make a joke there.
Yep, and it's probably enough. Anyway. Yeah, I don't think watching I've seen some people like criticizing the documentary and saying like, I don't know, like obviously like trying to imply
that self-porn,
that it's like watching it, but it's not made by her. It's not, like I'll say, it's interesting if you want to watch it. I'd say watch it, but at the same time, I don't think like you'll get a lot out of it. I didn't like. I'm saying all I got out of it is that she's she just is a contradictory person who is trying to sell herself on this, like, I'm empowering myself narrative. However, that's not what she is at all. She's just out for money. At the end of the day, she's just someone who wants to make a lot of money, and she's quite happy doing it by doing whatever it takes to get rich. She's not the first or last, and millions of men through history, and including the American president, have all done it. That said, it doesn't mean I can't say that she is also just a hungry, crazy person. That's what I took away.
All right, that's everything in our watch history. Let's move into a bit of film news. And I mean, the major story this week, dominating the airwaves, was the pulling of the Jimmy Kimmel show from ABC over in the United States, obviously.
You fucked up because I said Donald Trump and then you didn't say talking about Donald Trump.
Yeah, I know, but
you're really bad at segues.
The less you say his name, the better you feel. So reading the latest update on the story from Variety, Jimmy Kimmel and Disney are working towards reaching a compromise that will allow Jimmy Kimmel Live to return to ABC. The veteran hosts, business and legal representatives, deepened discussions with Disney and ABC leaders in hopes of finding a path to compromise that would allow the return of Jimmy Kimmel Live, according to 3 people with knowledge of the situation. The host has made no public comments since the show was abruptly pulled from its regular 11:35 p.m. slot on September 17th, with Disney saying that the program would be off schedule indefinitely after one of its TV owners of the stations in the US, Nexstar, said it intended to preempt airings of the programming. Following remarks the host made in relation to Trump and the slaying of a conservative activist, Charlie Kirk. Sinclair, another large station owner, has said it too was taking Kimmel off its stations. Kimmel has hosted ABC's late night franchise since 2003, and in recent years has become a key face of the network as a host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the Academy Awards, and other specials. There's no guarantee Kimmel and Disney will come together on terms to return to the airwaves, these people caution, nor is it clear where Kimmel's mindset stands on what it would and would not accept from ABC as conditions of taking the stage again for Jimmy Kimmel Live. It's understood that Kimmel is mindful of the effects of a shutdown that would have on dozens of his production staffers as vendors in Los Angeles who work on the show, according to one source with knowledge of the situation. The host is also aware some staff and crew members are still digging out of the financial hole created by the month-long writers and actors strike in 2023. Disney representatives declined to comment. Kimmel's media representatives did not respond to requests for comment. The incendiary situation around Kimmel has unleashed a torrent of criticism of Disney from the left and right. Free speech advocates have decried the company's swift move to take Kimmel off the air. Conservatives have cheered, and Trump has reiterated his threat to push for broadcast networks to lose their licenses for allowing anti-Trump and anti-MAGA voices on their airwaves. Demonstrations erupted on Thursday outside Disney offices in New York and Burbank, and outside the theater complex in Hollywood, where Jimmy Kimmel Live is produced. There's no doubt that Kimmel and Disney need to proceed with caution. The company needs many TV stations to distribute Jimmy Kimmel Live across the US if it is to generate the ratings the network has guaranteed to advertisers. Ad spending on Jimmy Kimmel Live totaled $51.1 million in 2024, according to data from Guideline. It's understood that ABC and Disney Brass had been flagging concerns to Kimmel for some time about the sharpness of his critiques of Donald Trump and his unprecedented takeover of federal agencies. Kimmel has, like other commentators, not held back in his disdain for the Trump administration's campaign with immigration and customs enforcement officers to round out suspected undocumented immigrants on the streets and in the workplaces without regard for constitutional terms of due process and equal justice. At the same time, Kimmel's remarks on Monday about how conservatives were using Kirk's death to make political points about Donald Trump's muted reaction to the matter, while talking to reporters, has spurred a Republican crusade. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr threatened earlier on Wednesday to take action against the ABC. After his decision was revealed, Carr said he wanted to thank Nexstar for doing the right thing in a statement on social media. Local broadcasters have an obligation to serve the public interest. While this may be an unprecedented decision, it is important for broadcasters to push back on Disney programming they determined fall short of the community. Yeah, I mean, you can go further into it, but it has been a shit show so far. We've seen a lot of pushback across the industry. I believe SAG came out against the move. The Writers Guild came out, the Directors Guild, and we've seen a slew of people canceling their Hulu/Disney Plus subscriptions over in the United States. Do you think this is something that will be resolved, or is it a continued push in America for the destruction of free speech?
No, it's just a continued destruction of free speech, the thing that they reckon they're fighting for, which is the obviously the funniest part. I think watching it from the outset. Yeah, I don't know what happens at this stage. It's really weird. I'm really keen. I'm probably going to watch it after we're done recording. I'm hopeful that the John Oliver posted this afternoon.
He does touch on it.
Yeah, okay. I haven't.
Yes.
Yeah, so keen for that commentary. But I mean, I don't think there's too much to say. I don't. What he said, the clip of what he posted, when you actually watch it, it is nothing about Charlie Kirk, really.
No, it's about all the Republicans around reacting to.
It's commentary about how they're using him. And then every clip since then where it's like some right-wing commentator or whoever talking about it says that Jimmy Kimmel said these disgusting things about Charlie Kirk. It's like, well, he didn't actually say anything about Charlie Kirk. So, yeah, it is... And not that it's shocking, because anyone with half a brain that isn't brainwashed by the Trump right-wing insanity has seen and knows for a while what their whole grift, which is run on bullshit. But it just continues the thing of, they're like, we're fighting for free speech, you're killing free speech, we hate fake news, you are literally spreading fake news. Like everything they say is just utter nonsense. A lie. Yeah. And at the end of the day, like I think the thing is the scariest part, and I saw Mark Maron put a thing on his TikTok after it happened about where he's literally like, this is it, everyone. Like, this is all you fucking free speech people out there, this is it. If you really care, now's the time to stand up and saying something, because this is it. This is the moment.
This is the moment.
Because at the end of the day, when doesn't matter what country it is, but the second that a leader, be it president, prime minister, whatever, has any push into controlling this, like what people say on TV shows, and all that, and it can get people pulled off air, you're now living in a dictatorship, and you're one step closer to North Korea. at the end of the day, that's what they're slowly becoming. And the fact that Trump can get on TV consistently and joke about pulling licenses for talking shit about him or anyone else and stuff, I'm like, you are literally just talking about dictatorship. And there was even that of fascism, right? So there was even that clip from that. I don't really watch the shows because I think they're I can't remember the YouTube channel that posts them where they have like older people sitting around Jubilee, whatever it is. Yeah, I don't watch them because I just think that they're so usually just made for
Terrible
rage baity sort of stuff, right? But I did see the clip that's been going around from the last one where it's like the dude doing it is supposed to be filled a room with like right-wing Trump supporters, but then there's a dude who just like does the whole thing where he's like, well, you're not, he says to him, he's like, you're not saying that, you're saying you're a fascist. He's like, and the dude laughs. He's like, well, why don't you just say that? And he's like, well, I'm a fascist then, And it's like, I think that's what America is currently, like a bunch of people who are not saying the loud part out loud, but slowly they are. Like,
yeah. I think the surprising thing was it's Disney like behind it, like although partially their hand has been forced by these smaller media companies who have own these stations that will air are choosing not to air Jimmy Kimmel.
Apparently, lost a lot of money so
far. Media in front of, they've got deals that they want passed through the FCC. But I mean, Disney has been one of the few places that have been pushing back against the administration in the past. Obviously, we had Ron DeSantis constantly pushing against Disney and the theme parks over there and that kind of stuff. So it's very disappointing on that end. It'd be interesting to see how much of a financial dent this is actually making, because it sounds like it isn't a small. Like, obviously, Disney Plus Hulu is where they make most of them income.
I was reading a report this morning that apparently it is, I think it was from Variety or someone wrote a column where they were saying they're hearing reports that it is substantial enough that Disney is having meetings about what to do. Like, it's big enough.
Yeah. And then you also have to see it from Jimmy Kimmel's side. Like, he wants to be doing the show. He doesn't want to be off the air. And he's obviously got all these people who rely on him to make the show, to earn an income, earn a living. But are you going to go back and like tone it down?
Well, did you say the reported what was asked of him reportedly to come back?
To make an apology and like make a donation to
Charlie Kirk's Foundation, apology, and then some first episode dedicated to Charlie Kirk or something like that. I mean, at that stage, you would lose respect for him if he did that, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
You wouldn't, yeah.
Yeah, you'd lose all respect for him.
Can't do that. But
you can't do that.
If he wants to come back, I think he's going to have to compromise and maybe
I think the thing is, what he said was so tame.
It was incredibly tame.
I don't understand, like, if that's the bar, like, if that is so tame, I don't understand what we're doing at this point.
We said worse stuff on our podcast about it.
Yeah, like, imagine, if we was in America, we'd be fucked.
Oh, we'd be dead already.
Yeah, I'd be dead. I say some terrible things about him. And I've no regrets. So.
But we live in a country with actual free speech.
Yeah. Did you see
we don't need to talk about how we got switches. We just have it.
They put on so I can't remember who did the report, but someone put out this whole like the top 10 countries with the most top 10 freest countries. America and Australia weren't even on it. I think number one was Finland.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, Norway was on there. It was a bunch of European countries, basically. New Zealand was third or fourth, though. New Zealand was third or fourth. All those
places with like free healthcare and like proper care for people and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The freest, craysy. Absolutely bizarre. All right. I mean, that
also,
dominated.
Just to because on the Trump thing. The other thing is, like, just to add to the rhetoric around his dictatorship. Tying two things into one. But apparently the ABC in Australia got a bunch of letters. Did you see that news story about like, and they put together our ABC put a story up with like some of the letters and stuff they'd received, emails being like, you're fucking all this stuff. Very funny. But then also the ABC Four Corners reporter who was trying to ask that question to Trump, and he's just doing the whole, not very good for your country. Not very, like, your very prime minister is going to be very rude. I'll speak to him. Like, what are we doing? That's so dictatorship. Like,
But yeah, I just saw that obviously they held a I don't know, a funeral or like vigil for Charlie Kirk.
You mean
came out and
the
said,
rock concert for Charlie Kirk? Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk. He's like, Charlie Kirk wanted what was best for you, even if he hated you. That's where we disagreed. I hate everybody who hates me. I
Yep.
want the worst for all of you.
Yep.
You know,
See,
again,
also
pulling
that
the mask off a little bit.
Trump said that in the same thing where he said he's announcing tomorrow, I think it is, like they've solved fuck, what was it they were talking about? The thing that old mate fucking Kennedy hates, or doesn't reckon it's real, among many diseases that are real.
COVID?
Whatever. No, not COVID, but
Brainwebs?
like it's been around for 50 years. People are born with it. Fucking whatever. I can't
Autism?
Autism, thank you. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, no, he's like, we're announcing something very big about autism. I'm doing it Monday. I don't want to do it today. I'm doing it Monday. I think Monday's an important day. So looking forward to them tomorrow waking up and finding out that America has decided that autism is not real. That'll be just another day. Yep.
All right.
So, I mean, honestly, sometimes you are like, we live in a weird time. You know what I mean?
We live
Like,
in.
I was thinking the other week, I'm like, my parents lived in a good time for most of their life, you know? Like, there are problems, sure. Things, I just don't think they have lived in as a weird a time in their younger years like I, you know? Like,
All right. You know, that dominated the news this week, but every week there are so many different pieces of casting and announcements of new films. We like to cover these in a segment called Would You Want to Invest? The concept is simple. I give Dylan details about different projects. He tell me if he would fully invest, partially invest, or not invest, and then history will be the judge if he was right or wrong. You ready?
always.
Always. All right. Starting with one from Hollywood Reporter. Seth Rogen is basically a Muppet in human form, so it makes sense he would be the one to revive The Muppet Show. The Muppet Show will return in 2026 as a Disney Plus special starring and executive produced by Sabrina Carpenter. Next year marks the 50th anniversary of the original sketch variety series. The hope is for The Muppet Show special to serve as a backdoor pilot for a new season of the iconic series that debuted in the 70s. The Muppets themselves actually date back 2 decades before that. Rogen, Evan Goldberg, James Weaver, and Alex McAtee will executive produce the special for Point Grey Pictures. David Lightbody, Lee Slaughter, and Michael Steinberg executive produced for the Muppet Studios. The special, which sees the Muppets return to the theatre to produce a variety show, also hails from 20th Studio and Disney branded television.
Sure. I'll partially invest because I like the Muppets. Sabrina Carpenter's fine. Sure, why not?
No, I mean, they've tried to revive the Muppets several times in the last.
Yeah, and it's either like, I just feel like it's such a like, there's so many Muppet things and so many variables and whatever. It's hard to really judge it until it's out.
A thing.
To be honest,
But a Muppets variety sketch show that could work this day and age. All right. Moving on to Deadline.
No Trump jokes on the Muppet Show.
No Trump jokes. Netflix has set the leads for The Boy in the Iron Box, the feature adaptation of the 6-part horror novella series from Chuck Hogan and Guillermo del Toro, on which del Toro is a producer. Deadline confirmed. They are Rupert Friend, Kevin Durand, and Jaden Martell. Published through Amazon Original Stories, the novella series watches as a plane carrying a team of mercenaries crash lands on a remote, snowy summit. When they come across a maze-like stone fortress, it's no refuge from the wolves and the freezing wind. It's more like a trap. What they discover can stop the heart, or worse. As terror takes a new shape, the real battle for survival begins.
Was it based on novella?
Based on a novella from Chuck Hogan and Guillermo del Toro.
Okay, interesting.
It's being directed by David Pryor, who was a collaborator on del Toro's Netflix's Cabinet of Curiosities.
Yeah, full invest, obviously. That sounds interesting project. Don't know anything about the source material, but
I'm sure you'll find an audiobook soon.
Why? Yeah, I bet it'll okay.
All right. A24 is set to produce Jaunty, a new comedy starring Oscar nominee Jesse Plemons in the title role opposite Tony winner Cole Escola. Plot details are on the wraps. Two-time Emmy nominee Lorraine Scafaria will direct from a script co-written by her Emmy-winning Succession collaborator Jesse Armstrong, as well as Sam Bain, a BAFTA winner who worked with Armstrong on the film Four Lions and Channel 4's Peep Show. Yeah, that's it.
That's not a lot to go on.
No.
I like Peep Show, partial invest.
Okay. Justin Theroux is set as a lead opposite Jude Law and Andrew Garfield in Apple TV's upcoming limited series Wild Things
Wow,
About-
dang.
about
Sorry.
entertainers Siegfried and Roy from Only Murders in the Building co-creator showrunner John Hoffman. Based on the Apple original podcast Wild Things, Siegfried and Roy, the series tells the wild ride relationship tale of the two of the greatest showman magicians in history who, along with their white tigers, are tasked with turning Sin City into a family-friendly destination. The duo push the concept of illusion versus reality to the extreme, personally and professionally, until tragedy reframes and opens a mystery surrounding their last fateful Las Vegas show.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. Double fun. Fully invest.
All right. Sundance Prize-winning animator/director Jeron Braxton has brought an A-list cast around Scott Kid Cudi Scooty for Slime.
Just say Kid Cudi.
Around Kid Cudi for Slime, the animated feature marking his feature debut, on which Deadline first reported in 2023. Newcomers to the ensemble include Willow Smith, One Battle After Another breakout Tiana Taylor, Emmy and Golden Globe winner Anna Sawai, John Cho, and BAFTA winner John Boyega. We're told Smith is to play the lead role of Muna, with the voice work starting next month. Character details of the others are under wraps. Set in a too-near future, Slime follows Muna, a optimistic but broke young woman who signs up for a paid clinical trial, only to be injected with a mysterious creature's slime that unleashes destructive powers that she cannot control. On the run, she kidnaps Glenn, in the lab worker who injected her, and the two set out on a perilous odyssey through a crumbling dystopian world in search of refuge and a cure. But as the clock runs out, is Muna transforming into humanity's worst nightmare, or its last unlikely savior?
Holy fuck, that was a lot. Who'd you say's in it?
Kid Cudi,
Yeah, and I remember that.
Willow Smith,
Tiana
Tiana Taylor, Anya Sawai, John Cho, and John Boyega. It's also set to feature an original soundtrack and score by Kid Cudi, and the film is described as an anime-inspired pre-apocalyptic sci-fi monster flick with retro video game aesthetics.
I'm going to partial invest based on the fact that I'm going to treat it like any Kid Cudi album, and Buddy Watson would attest to this. You click play, you accept it'll be shit if it's shit and good if it's good, and you just never know. Mixed bag, that man.
Apple TV Plus has picked up the 8-episode limited series The Off Weeks, starring and executive produced by Jessica Chastain and Ben Stiller. Michael Showalter will direct and executive produce alongside Elisa Nutting, who will serve as showrunner. The project follows writing professor Gus Adler, whose divorce has thrown his life into chaos. He struggles to hold things together during on weeks when he has custody of his kids, but in his off weeks, he's falling dangerously in love with Stella West, a mysterious woman whose arrival puts Gus's on-week duties and off-week ambitions on a fatal collision course.
No, I'm gonna go no invest. It sounds like a whole bunch of nothing to me. I don't really know what you said. Words come out of your mouth. Woman, it's fatal stuff.
Young Mazzino and Stephen Root have signed on for supporting roles in October. Writer-director Jeremy Saulnier's new film for A24, which earlier today added Stanley Simons to the ensemble. As we no word yet on character details for the duo or anyone else in the cast. The logline is being kept under lock and key, as well, though sources have described the project as a fugitive thriller set during Halloween. As previously announced, Corey Michael Smith will lead the cast of the pick, produced and financed by A24, with Chase Sue Wonders, Sophie Wilde, and Stanley Simons also in the mix.
Yes, full invest. You said a bunch of keywords that tickled my fancy.
A24.
Like A24.
Can't see what this director's previous work is.
Wow, I recognize that.
He did Rebel Ridge. That's right, in Green Room.
Oh, that's right.
That's that director. The Obamas, Higher Ground Productions, is teaming with Leica on a live-action feature adaptation of Audition, the Booker Prize long-listed novel by Katie Kitamura, with Lucy Liu and Charles Melton on board to star. Lulu Wang will direct with her own script written by Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright Martina Marjok. Higher Ground and Leica will produce the film in association with Web Wang's local Time banner. Published earlier this year by Riverhead Books, an imprint of Penguin Random House, Audition is described as a twisty thriller that follows a celebrated actress enjoying a charmed bohemian life in Manhattan with her creative husband. things take a turn when a mysterious young man appears claiming to be her long-lost son. What begins as a misguided reunion spirals into an enthralling mystery about identity, guilt, and the roles we perform.
Sound like that documentary where the rich guy and his mum shows back up in his life. Do you remember? You know what I'm thinking of?
Yeah, the chef
Netflix
dude.
last year. Yeah, the chef dude. Yeah, it's like that, but an actor.
Reversed.
Yeah. I'll fully invest.
Lionsgate have put in motion a sequel to The Last Witch Hunter, to star Vin Diesel in a reprise of his role as Calder.
It's not the fucking last.
The Immortal Witch Hunter. The film is being developed along with Diesel's One Race Films and Lionsgate, with all parties eyeing a fast path to production. While a deal has not been finalized, Michael Caine is attached to reprise his role as Dolan in the new film. The movie goes with Lionsgate's strategy to grow IP with staying power and sci-fi fantasy spectacle elements that can overperform in the ancillary markets and create long-term library value. The Last Witch Hunter was about a man who stands against humanity and the worst possible witch covens imaginable. Grossed $130 million at the worldwide box office at the time of its initial theatrical release in 2015. The pick was performed consistently in ancillary markets and re-emerged as a streaming hit this year. It ranks among the 5 most viewed movies on Netflix. Advancements in technology since then would allow a sequel to be brought on a much more efficient budget expenditure. The rest of the elements will be conjured up quickly.
Okay. Sure. Partial invest. Do it for Michael Caine.
If Michael Caine comes out of retirement
For this.
for a sequel to The Last Witch Hunter,
Yep.
It will be very funny.
Yep. That's apparently what's happening, so...
Did you ever watch The Last Witch? I know I saw it, but I can't remember anything from it.
I'll have to watch it now.
Maybe. Last one from this week. Director Martin Scorsese is committed to his next film, and he's got Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence as his leads. They're eyeing a January start for an adaptation of the ghost story novel What Happens at Night. Deadline hears that Aboriginal Films is negotiating to finance and produce with Studio Canal, which will develop the script. This comes as DiCaprio starring One Battle After Another is set to bow next weekend amidst rapturous buzz and reviews for the PTA-directed film. Apple makes a lot of sense. It's a landing spot for this new film. The studio was behind Scorsese's. The Scorsese-directed DiCaprio starring Killers of the Flower Moon and has first look deals with Scorsese's Scalia and DiCaprio's Appian Way banners. Patrick Marber penned the script to What Happens at Night after Studio Canal acquired rights to the Peter Cameron book novel in the spring of 2023. At the time, Scorsese was only meant to produce the adaptation as he percolated other possible follow-ups to Killers of the Flower Moon. DiCaprio has been weighing up several projects, including Damien Chazelle's Evil Knievel biopic, but ultimately those projects went away and the pieces fell into place where the film has 3 Oscar winners above the line, including Lawrence. The dreamlike story follows a married American couple who's traveled to a small, snowy European town to adopt a baby. They check into a cavernous, large, deserted hotel where they encounter an enigmatic cast of characters, including a flamboyant chanteuse, a depraved businessman, and a charismatic faith healer. Nothing is quite as it seems in this strange frozen world. As the couple struggle to claim their baby, the less they seem to know about themselves and the life they built together.
Yeah, obviously fully invest. I don't know. There's so much information where it could have just he does. We don't need information. Who needs information?
I know I could have stopped at
Martin Scorsese's doing a new movie. Full invest.
Scorsese, maybe even Leonardo DiCaprio, and at most Jennifer Lawrence, but I feel like people want to know. All right, that's all the projects for this week. I guess we have to wait and see when history will be the judge. But let's talk about some movies that are a little bit closer with some thumbs through trailers. Of course, you find all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. Kick things off, we've got The Chair Company, created by Tim Robinson and Zach Cannon, starring Tim Robinson, Lake Bell, Sophia Lillis, Will Price, Joseph Tedisco, and Lou Diamond Phillips. I've not put the description.
Who knows? Who knows what the fuck's going on in this? The description isn't going to tell you anything. Just double thumbs up. I have no idea what's happening, but I'm all about it. I watched the trailer. I got a vibe. He's seen an incident. Okay? That's the description.
Yeah. After an embarrassing incident work, William Ronald Trosper finds himself investigating a far-reaching conspiracy.
There you go. See? I didn't, nothing more. Yep. Cool. Can't wait.
Oh, yeah. 2 thumbs up. I think it does a good job of having that comedy that you would kind of expect from a Tim Robinson project, but also a lot of mystery about what the hell he is talking about and why is he
What the
getting
hell?
so invested in this.
I'll have you know, I watched this trailer early in the week, right? As soon as I got done watching it, I was at my parents' place at the time. And I was like just chilling on the couch there, just while they're fucking bumming around doing whatever Saturday night. So I watched this trailer Saturday night. And then straight after, I just sat there on YouTube and watched a bunch of clips from your show. I was like, "Yep."
Couldn't watch on Netflix. The source of.
Well, I didn't. I wasn't committed. You know, dinner was soon. I was just
Okay.
You know, I watched the trailer and I was like, I want that vibe now. I finished the trailer and I was like, I need to watch a couple clips. So I just watched a few. Yeah.
No, that's fair. The Chair Company is coming to HBO Max on the 13th of October. Next trailer is for Monster, the Ed Gein story. Created by Brian Murphy and Ian Brennan, starring Charlie Hunnam, Laurie Metcalf, Susanna Sun, Tom Hollander, Vicky Creeps, Olivia Williams, Leslie Manville, Joey Polari, Charlie Hall, and Tyler Jacob Moore. The series will focus on convicted murderer and suspected serial killer Ed Gein in the 1950s rural Wisconsin. So what do you think of the trailer for this new serial killer show?
I'm going to double
Miniseries, I
thumbs
guess.
up, although I do think that Charlie Hunnam is a little bit too pretty to play Ed Gein. But I'm keen for this one. I didn't watch the Mendes season, but I'm keen for this one simply because I mean this is one of the most prominent serial killers when it comes to especially movie history.
Influential, some would say.
Influential, yeah. And they've even got in the show, you've got someone playing Hitchcock, you've got someone playing Tobe Hooper. I mean, the Ed Gein influenced Psycho, influenced Texas Chainsaw Massacre, influenced even one of my favorite movies, of course, Devil's Rejects / Thousand Corpses. As far as serial killer stories go, that was highly influential on Hollywood throughout history and has affected Hollywood for years. This is the one, which is a weird sentence to say. However, it is very true. I'm intrigued to see how the story will then play out. If they're going to have, like, is it going to take a look at that lens that we always talk about, like, you know, putting the serial killers on the pedestal or whatever? Because if you think about it, when they do stuff like that, you know, the person whoever, I can't remember, I don't know the author's name. What am I saying? I can't remember. I just don't know the author's name. Whoever wrote the original Psycho book, right? That then Hitchcock then turns into Psycho and so on and so forth. They read this fucked up story about a serial killer and even Tobe Hooper and everything, you know, they read all these things, but then they turn them into fictionalized versions. So it takes away the putting the serial killer on a mantelpiece sort of thing. So I don't know. I'm intrigued to see if the show's going to tackle that element of it, you know, by having all the directors and stuff involved in this after his arrests and stuff. So, but I mean, there's also elements like they show Addison Rae's playing this girl in it who, like, he was never found guilty of killing her. So and by all accounts, people have sort of agreed that he probably didn't because of many differing factors and stuff. I do know a fair bit about Ed Gein history just because I've watched documentaries and stuff, and like that's what I'm saying, he's an influential part of horror movie history. So, yeah, I'm intrigued for this one. Double thumbs up.
I mean, yeah, 2 thumbs up for me. Very unsettling trailer. I don't know. Charlie Hunnam looks fine, I guess, you know. I mean, he's a good looking dude, but, you know, he does give serial killer vibes in this. Just his unsettling body presence.
Voice and stuff.
Yeah, and like, just the dancing around with people's skins, you know, that's not my bag, so. Yeah. Obviously, people like these monster things. Obviously, the Dharma was the first one, and then
yeah, Dharma was the first one, and then Eric and Lyle
Menendez, which was obviously highly Emmy nominated.
Yeah.
So yeah. Monster the Ed Gein story is coming to Netflix on the 3rd of October. Next trailer is for The Housemaid, directed by Paul Feig, starring Sydney Sweeney, Amanda Seyfried, Brandon Clinier, Michelle Monroe, and Elizabeth Perkins. Millie Calloway is a young woman with a troubled past who becomes a live-in housemaid for a wealthy family. However, their seemingly perfect life unravels when she discovers their household hides dark secrets beneath the surface. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for The Housemaid?
I was going to give it 1 up, 1 down, but I'm going to switch it double thumbs up solely because it deserves it, because it played me. I was watching the start of the trailer and I was getting really annoyed because I was like, why are they doing the whole, let's put the fucking, the glasses on the hot girl thing to downplay her attractiveness. Like, why are we doing that that's annoying me. Like, oh, the sweet innocent house sitter thing. And then she takes her glasses off at the end of the trailer. I was like, all right, fooled me. Whatever, double thumbs up. Played me. She was doing it for a bit.
You're like, oh, she's not gonna know that she's beautiful, but no, she knows she's beautiful.
Yeah, in character, she was doing it to downplay and be like, look more innocent and kawaii.
No, yeah, I'll give one up, one down. It looks fine. It looks like another one of these, pitting women against each other kind of things. Obviously, from Paul Feig, and you've got a little bit of a flavor from A Simple Favor.
I'm going to take a wild swing. The plot is exactly the same as nearly the same as Simple Favor.
Maybe.
So the trailer makes it look like it's about women against each other, but by the end of the movie, it's actually they team up to take down the husband.
Man,
spoilers.
Maybe
I could be right.
We'll see. But yeah, I mean, it looks like another Sydney Sweeney project. Aspade is coming to cinemas on the 26th of December. Next trailer is for The Last Frontier, created by John Bokenkamp and Richard D'Ovido, starring Jason Clarke, Dominic Cooper, and Haley Bennett. A U.S. Marshal in the outskirts of Alaska must protect his town while he investigates the plane crash that sets free multiple fugitives now on the loose. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer for The Last Frontier?
I'm going to double thumbs up. I will be honest, if this was Netflix, I probably would have given it one up, one down by basis of not feeling it will be as good as it looks. But because I have more trust in Apple TV, I'm keen on it. And I think Jason Clarke looks to be good casting for this sort of role locale and story and stuff like that. Also, the fact that Joan Knoxville's in it for at least a short amount of time is looks like it could be good fun. I'm assuming he dies by like episode 2 or 3, but he
might die in that plane crash. I don't know.
No. They showed him shooting at later. Like they like there's someone who like shoots through a truck or something. He's like the one who shoots the truck driver or something. Yeah. But I mean, stories that are set in places like Alaska and stuff, I always find quite thrilling because it's just such a otherworldly place to me to think about. Like I just can't picture it, sort of, So that's always going to get me. But
can't picture a cold place.
I can't picture. Yeah, no, not really. Not that level. Not that level. But I mean, it kind of looks like let's combine Con Air with I don't know.
Last season of True Detective.
Last season of True Detective, sure, yeah.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up. I'm here for that combination of things. Jason Clarke looks really good. I mean, the whole plane crash sequence looks pretty solid. So I mean, they're not spurging for budget. I get like Hijack vibes, which was the Idris Elba Apple TV Plus drama. Obviously not the live action, like the real time element that show had, but like it's one man against a bunch of criminals and he's got to figure out how to take them all down, kind of thing.
As he says, I'm trying to capture 39 criminals. The FBI is just trying to get one.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So I want to know who the dude is. Have they ever cast somebody?
Dominic Cooper. I looked it up after watching it.
Oh, that makes more sense, seeing as I did not see him at all in the trailer.
Yeah, I was also annoyed. I was like, who is the dude? And I looked it up. It's Dominic Cooper. Couldn't help myself.
That's fine. The Last Frontier comes to Apple TV Plus on the 10th of October. Last trailer for this week. Anaconda. Directed by Tom Gormican. Starring Paul Rudd, Jack Black, Steve Zahn, Thandie Newton, Danielle Melicore, and Selton Mello. A midlife crisis inspires Doug and Griff to head into the Amazon rainforest to remake their favorite film from their youth. But everything changes when a real giant anaconda shows up, turning the comically chaotic set into a deadly situation. The movie they're dying to make, he just might kill them. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for Anaconda?
Double thumbs
She's
up.
comically set to the tones of Anaconda.
This trailer was edited tremendously. I think that shot that's like near the start was like stuff starts going bad and you just hear the beat of the like just like starts kicking. I'm like, this is good shit. Also, the part where like Jack Black fucking froze that. No, not Jack Black. Fucking Paul Rudd's character like fucking froze and kills his steak off the side. I'm like, this looks like good time. This looks like a lot of fun. It also, I'd been planning to do a bit of a Anaconda rewatch. I remember I was talking to you about a couple months ago, like talking about how many like they went into
Trying to figure out.
Yeah, like straight to DVD releases and stuff like that. So I was already going to do that, but then in the lead up to this, but then watching this, I was like, nah, this looks pretty fucking funny. So definitely more keen to watch all those. Of course, they are more serious, but also not really. They're so dumb anyway. So, but this looks even dumber as well. So.
Yeah, two thumbs from me. This is clearly more explicitly comedic, but also that snake looks terrifying, and I would not want to be
just
anywhere
Jack
near
Black running with that fucking pig at the end of the trailer. Like, what a shot! Like, just what
a concept, you know. And what a visual, really. Yeah, the whole concept. I think we had discussed, like, we heard rumors that it was going to be kind of meta and that kind of stuff, but the idea that they're trying to remake.
That was the log line for a while. It was like two best friends attempt to remake Anaconda or something, but like that was all it was. It was like such a one sentence, like just pitch. That I was like, what's that actually look like? But then watching it, I was like, okay, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, this is genius, and I'm here for it, and I'm here for this era of tackling these properties in interesting ways.
Yeah,
you know. So, Anaconda is coming to Australian cinemas on Boxing Day.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, let's move into this week's top three.
Definitely in the top three.
And in honor of one battle after another coming to Australian cinemas this week's top three is top three Leonardo DiCaprio films. Film, what is your number three?
Number three, I went with the Departed. One of Leo's defining films. Of course, one of his defining partnerships with Martin Scorsese. I think it's hard, honestly, for me to pick who I like more in this between Leo and Matt Damon. I think they're both very good, but for different roles. But I mean, this is sort of like when this came out as well. I guess like came out like 2005. You know, sort of teenage years, beginning to fall in love with movies. This was like, I remember this came out and like watching it on release and being like, "Fuck, this is acting." You know what I mean? Like this is movies, this is cinema, sort of feeling. And just listen to that fucking Irish Murphys. Dropkick Murphys, whatever. Dropkick Murphys, sorry.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Anyway, so yeah, I always think, whenever I think top Leo films, I always just think about him arguing with Jack Nicholson in this and stuff. So.
My number three is Inception. A fantastic film. The kind of elevated Chris Nolan to more than just the Batman director, and like made him, kind of set him up to become the biggest director in the world. Leo plays the lead of a team who was trying to infiltrate people's dreams. Yeah, just a fantastic performance, fantastic movie, great cast, great visuals. Yeah, Inception. It's one hell of a movie. What is your number two?
My number two is Django Unchained. Django, where Leo plays the bad guy, the racist slave farm owner. I don't know, what do we call it? Like a slave. What do we call a person who buys nose? I don't know. Anyway, he obviously a huge slave trader. I think is probably the correct term. Yeah, obviously plays the slave trader, and he just has so much fun with such an evil role, and obviously was very committed to it. The famous scene where his hand starts bleeding, and he just. I mean, that's the moment when once you know that he wasn't meant to smash the glass, and his hand starts bleeding, and he just keeps going, and it makes the scene so much more intense. And like you're like, that's why Leo's the guy. You know what I mean? Like that's why he's the guy. But he's so huge in this movie he's not in it like a crap ton, obviously, but every single time Leo's is in any scene in this movie, he's unforgettable. And just the dialogue and the delivery of it, and the ease in which he says such just terrible racist things, but it's sort of what makes the character work and makes like you like what a slimy guy and you can't wait for him to die, and then he dies and it's great. So
Absolutely. My number 2, Titanic, classic, one of the highest grossing films of all time. And just, the core of this movie is the relationship between Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. It kind of holds the whole entire movie together. Incredible disaster movie, incredible spectacle. And yes, he could have fit on that door. Dylan, what's the number 1?
my number 1 is The Revenant. Leo won his Oscar for the role, so it sort of helps sell it. But he plays based on I think it was based on a real person, or at least somewhat based on a real person. But obviously, he plays this frontiersman who ends up in mauled by a bear in such a hugely memorable scene that then got parried into death by people pretending to be the dude in the green suit or whatever it was. But like a hugely intense scene, and then from that point out, the film is just so reliant on him. It becomes a revenge film after that point, trying to track down the person played by Tom Hardy who sort of left him for dead. But it's just a intense, character-driven film. Not a lot of dialogue, but Leo, and that's why Leo's the guy for this film, and makes it why it's one of his, well, in my opinion, his best performance, because everything is just subtle movements, eye twitches, eye things, the snivelingness, and then all that anger boils over, and there's the final showdown with him and Tom Hardy, and yeah, phenomenal.
My number 1 is Catch Me If You Can, in which plays Frank Abagnale,
Abenaki, I think, wasn't it?
Abenaki, that sounds right.
Yeah.
A 19-year-old con man who manages to con people into believing he's a doctor or a lawyer or a airline pilot or a bunch of different things, and is on the run from the FBI, led by Tom Hanks. I think this is one of the first films I remember seeing him in, and seeing him playing all these different cons, all different roles, was really impressive, and it's just one of those films that kind of stuck with me. So one of my favorites, Catch Me If You Can.
Do you want to point out we did not have any crossover?
Yeah, no crossover. And
wild.
Did you see all the list of directors that were directed all the films? Incredible.
Were they all different?
Yeah.
Wild. It's probably a testament.
A hell of an impressive career.
Yeah, a testament to his career, the fact that we had completely different lists with different directors and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
Well, this week, obviously, I want to watch one battle after another. Was already super keen for it. It's one of the biggest releases of the year for anyone who cares about cinema. Any new movie that comes from Paul Thomas Anderson is going to be one of the biggest movies of the year for anyone who cares about movies. But I mean, I can't help but even I was already keen. I already had my ticket purchased and everything. And then a couple of days ago, when those first reviews started coming out, and people saying it's like one of the best movies in like the century, and wild things. I'm seeing quotes flying around saying like people can't wait to watch it more than once. And I'm like, I was already keen. Now I'm super keen. TV show front, Marvel Zombies. We'll be talking about that.
Yep, we will. Yeah, I mean, one battle after another. It's the movie that it's the must-see movie, I guess, this week. Despite Spinal Tap, and continues coming out, and The Strangers Chapter 2. And on the TV front, I'm excited. Slow Horses Season 5 kicking off this week, and reviews are saying it's possibly the best season so far, which is crazy, considering the last 2 seasons already won Emmys for this show. That just churns season after season now.
They're not slow with the releases of that show, are they?
That is the one thing that's not slow, this show. Let's know what you want to watch this week by finding us on.
Can I just interrupt? Not to tell you how to run your show, but can I just say we did lose Robert Redford this week. And testament, one of the I do think one of the most important Hollywood stars. So I'd feel amiss if we didn't at least mention, like, hugely influential actor on a lot of people's careers, did phenomenal movies throughout his whole life, and even like obviously starting up the Sundance Film Festival and stuff like that. So yeah, I was going through watching a bunch of different clips from his movies of week, and I wanted to find time to sit down and watch something. I was struggling what to pick, but I was probably going to go just Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid as answers, but I mean, what a film. So
Absolutely. So yeah, let us know what you want to watch this week, or what Robert Redford film should Dylan watch by finding us on social media by going to explosionnetwork.com/follow. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars. I think we can leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. Or if you want to help us out, keep things running over at explosionnetwork.com. Head over to explosionnetwork.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.